Hey everybody, and welcome into another edition of Inside Pitch here at the Post-Dispatch. I'm Ben Frederickson, joined as always by fellow columnist Jeff Gordon. And Gordo, today we got to go fact or fiction. We got to try to find some truth here. Either the Cardinals are the best pitching team in the history of MLB shortened summer camp, or they have one of the least impressive offenses of MLB summer camp. Truth probably somewhere in the middle, but after day of talking about how great these pitchers are, I'm starting to wonder a little bit about these hitters. Through about 5 inter-squad games, the Cardinals are 27 for 152 with 41 strikeouts, 21 walks. They've had just 5 extra base hits. Only one of those is a home run. So now, granted, inter-squad games are not the best measure, and granted, some of these guys are hitters who are not going to see any games this season. So with that being said, some of the guys who are going to be seeing games are not hitting all that well either. What do we make? Are the Cardinals crushing pitching, and they're just no one's ever gonna score a run against them, or is this offense in trouble here?
Well, I think you have to worry a little bit about the offense because we worried about it a lot last year, especially the outfield production, which was so subpar compared to their peers, especially the contenders. You know, there's a lot of talk about, and understandably so, about the process of seeing pitches, of working on things, of trying to get your timing, which is so hard to do against real pitching. Guys can do everything from the very interesting Dexter Fowler golf wiffle ball machine thingy to, pitch facing your buddies and other big leaguers at different places. But granted, it takes time, okay, and it is a process. But you've got a week, and you'd like to see some line drives here, Ben Fred.
Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to see see a couple balls leave Busch Stadium, make everybody calm down a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. Look, it's a fair topic, right? We're not just basing it off of the camp numbers. This is the biggest conversation for this team this offseason is, could it find a way to have a more consistent offense? That was the one thing that held the team back last season. It's the one thing that disappeared in the series against the Nationals in the NLCS. And it's the one thing the Cardinals didn't actively look to upgrade this offseason when it had a chance to maybe go out and get a more proven bat. It said, hey, we're going to bank on the guys we have bouncing back. We're going to bank on the internal guys stepping up and producing. And that's something that we're going to see in action here in left field. It sure seems like, based off of what we're watching in these inter-squad games, that Tyler O'Neill will get the first crack at starting in left field. Lane Thomas could be right there, but it does seem like the Cardinals are hinting that O'Neill will be the one who gets first shot. He started camp strong, a little more quiet lately, but he certainly looks different. He's more trimmed up. He was very, very bulky and big before, but it looks maybe a little more athletic. He's changed his diet. What do you like of O'Neill's chances? I mean, this is a guy who has had 2 60-game sample sizes before in back-to-back MLB seasons, but he's never started more than 30 games in any of those seasons. He's going to get a chance to start the season as the guy this year. What do you make of his chances of holding down that spot, or will it be just a sample size before the carousel starts to spin again?
I like his chances better of sticking than Bader, who for me could just end up being your extra outfielder that maybe Dylan Carlson's your center fielder and Bader comes in the game and Carlson slides over, that type of thing. O'Neill, give him a shout out, man. He put the work in. He wants to become an outfielder, a ball player. The whole bodybuilding background that he came from, I think, worked against him. Built his flexibility, worked on his defensive play in the outfield, positioning himself, reading balls, taking better routes. He's really put the work in. And, of course, the power's there, and he can run. So if he puts it all together, and I think he's showing with the maturity that he can, of all the candidates that they have in the outfield, aside from Carlson, I think I like Tyler the best.
I do think it's, we could be talking about a conversation that starts as who plays left field to who's in the outfield today in general, across all 3 positions, depending on how this starts out. Look, the Cardinals had one of the lowest OPS productions from an outfield in the National League last season. Really surprising they went as far as they did with that kind of thing holding them back. So they really can't afford to have that happen again. And I think we'll see in a 60-game season some decisions being made there that are going to have to be made on a shorter window of opportunity. So eager to see how that plays out. Also kind of interested in this rotation gamble, this race for the rotation, Gordo. Mike Schilt has said, look, we want 5 guys. We want to keep it traditional. but they really have six. I mean, well, more than six, but six very obvious candidates. We know two of them are in. The Cardinals have said that Jack Flaherty will be their opening day starter. Shocker, I know. And Adam Wainwright will start the second game of the season. Now, Dakota Hudson, Miles Michaelis, you've got Kim, the new lefty from Korea, and also Seamart, who wants to leave that closer role and has worked really hard to get out of that. Watching Kim pitch in the most recent inter-squad game, that'd be Thursday night at Busch Stadium, impressive. His stuff is good. It's diverse. He has 4 different pitches. He can speed that slider up, slow it down. And he says he's most comfortable in a starting role, but he will, go to the bullpen if asked. Same thing Martinez has said. How do you see this shaken out? Obviously, Michaelis, I think, and Hudson will be in, but we were told kind of, this was going to be a Kim versus Martinez conversation for the 5th spot entering spring training. Seems to be similar in summer camp. Who do you see getting the edge there?
Well, we talked about the fact that Carlos may be the number 2 starter in terms of just sheer ability. You wrote about that, but he's also probably the number 1 reliever based on both track record and ability. And boy, the bullpen is a gigantic need. We saw it again with Junior Fernandez, just not able to close out a game. Kind of the wheels came off and he just lost command out there completely. So you've just really have lost all of your other options. Andrew Miller looks good, but you need that. You need help at the end of the game. And having a lefty that's unfamiliar to everybody, who's got a great makeup to be a starting pitcher. Dakota Hudson has starter stuff. Same for Miles. I think that's your rotation. And Carlos is, as much as I like him as a starter, I think it's a team necessity. And as you said, man, the season's upon us, and it's a very short season. You got to adapt to what your circumstances are. And for me, that's, Carlos helping out at the back of the game. I don't see much choice.
Brian Helsley maybe could be the answer at closer. But you're right. Fernandez has looked a little shaky when given those chances. I do want to see what Carlos Martinez does in this next inter-squad start. So we're recording this on a Friday morning. Carlos and Michaelis will be in the start, the inter-squad game this evening. And clearly, the guys who are pitching now, Carlos and Kim, they know that they're being, examined for their role. So eager to see what he does in a few more innings, hopefully, how he holds up over the course of that. Fascinating conversation. Whoever is bumped from the rotation is going to have to be a key reliever, whether it is Kim or Martinez. And 2 other guys that we should mention here who would probably be starting on most other teams, Austin Gomber and Daniel Ponce de Leon. I mean, these guys are going to be huge keys to the season, Gordo. They have good stuff. I think Austin Gomber's start the other day in an inter-squad game was as good a pitching as we've seen in this whole camp. They could be used as very, very nice accompanying pieces to any starter if you pair them with someone who matches their skill set. Ponce has that high electric fastball. Gomber is the lefty who can break off a really nice curveball. I think these guys could be talked about as being significant to the pitching staff, whether they're making a spot start or just providing chunks of relief innings, because we're the guys that did that last season. We're talking Giovanni Gallegos, John Brebbia. Right now, neither of those guys is available. Brebbia won't be, and Gallegos still hasn't been at camp yet. I think we've got to – well, we're not talking about Ponce or Gomber for the rotation. I think we have to mention them as huge parts of this staff. They're going to be important this year.
Yeah, I think about Gomber coming in as a second pitcher after the starter, coming in, turning around the lineup, giving the opponent a whole different look. Free and easy. To me, it looks like a classic long reliever. And like you mentioned, Ponce has got the ability to come in and pop the ball and be a bit of a hammer. Probably, him, Helsley, and Seamark could handle that along with Miller from the left side. You might survive with that.
Andrew Miller's looked pretty good. I know there are a lot of people wondering about him. He's looked sharp so far in this summer camp. So that's good news. And good news for the Cardinals that they had all these pitchers, because their depth is being tested here before they can even get off the ground. So we'll keep tabs on the rotation race, the left field, and all that stuff. Check back next week for another edition of Inside Pitch. For Jeff Gordon, I'm Ben Frederickson. We'll talk to you next week.